Namaste, beautiful yogis. Welcome to Impact Intense Interval Yoga class. This is going to be a coffee cup class, and prepare for some deep stretching, some balancing, and some intensity. Let's begin at our usual meetup spot, the front of our mats. Feet parallel to each other, hands over the heart. Inhale your arms all the way, hands over the head. Look up, expansive heart, lengthen. Open, lengthen, elongate. Exhale, folding forward, forward bend. Honoring where you're at. You can look over to your left and right and just honor your forward bend. It doesn't matter where you're at. It's the perfect place. And let's inhale the hands all the way over the head. Slight bend. And here we're going to open the arms out and twist over to one side just to kind of warm up and bring some mobility back to center and over to the opposite side. And here feel free to pause the video if you're not warmed up and do a quick sun salutation or a vinyasa so that you can continue with the rest of the video, which is going to start with intensity because I walked to this place and I was very warmed up. But if you're sitting and a little bit cold right now, just do a few sun salutation, jumping jacks or something like this that is gonna get you warmed up and moving. And join me with the rest of the sequence. Inhaling the hands up, reaching, opening. Exhale, flat back all the way to the floor and walk back into plank. Pull the belly in, connecting with your core and paying attention to your breath. And let's take the right leg across from the body and take a modified side plank, open the chest. Over to the opposite side, just quickly moving and warming up, bringing movement, mobility. Slowly coming back to plank and chaturanga. We're going to do a few chaturangas. Chaturanga, press up. Chaturanga, lift yourself up. Chaturanga, lift yourself up. Chaturanga, lift yourself up. Belly in, chaturanga, lift. And now knee tucks. Bringing the knees into the chest, alternating sides. Keeping the belly in, moving with integrity. Continue with those, and now we're gonna do chaturanga knee tuck, 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 chaturanga, and drop all the way onto your belly. Cobra. Open the chest, lengthen the back of your neck. Slowly lower down, lift the left leg off the floor, right arm reaches up. Change sides, lift. Release the hands on the floor and press yourself up and back into downward facing dog. Drawing the navel in. Inhale the right leg up and open the hip. Bend the knee. And you can drop the foot behind you. Lift the hips as high as you can. Now opening the chest. And back into one-legged downward facing dog. Here we're gonna bring the knee over the elbow and go into an arm balance. Back to chaturanga. Upward facing dog, chaturanga. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale the right leg up again. Bend the knee. Drop the foot behind you. And we're gonna go into wow thing. From here, stacking the hips on top of each other. Knee to elbow 10 times. Side crunches in plank. Make sure that you're aligning your wrists so that you're actually building wrist strength. hips lifted. Great. And back into plank, chaturanga and press up. Chaturanga, upward facing dog. Back to chaturanga, exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale the left leg up, open the hip, bend the knee, step behind while thing. Lift the hips as high as you can here and open the chest. And coming out of this, back into one-legged downward facing dog. Bring your left knee over your left triceps and lift into an arm balance and jump back, upward facing dog, chaturanga, exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale the left leg up again, bend the knee, open the hip, and drop the foot behind you, lifting the hips as high as you can. And from here, stacking the feet on top of each other, side crunches in side plank, 10 of those. Try to keep your hips lifted, contracting the obliques as you bring your elbow into your knee, moving slowly with integrity and back into plank, chaturanga, upward facing dog, chaturanga, downward facing dog. Inhale the right leg up, step the right foot between your hands, high lunge. And let's bring the left hand on the floor, spin the right arm out, twisting. Reach ahead of you. Hands on the inside of your foot, and you're gonna jump your feet on the outside of your hands 3 times. End up with the left foot leading and twist. Right hand on the floor, left arm spins up. And lunge. And reach ahead of you. Come up, high lunge. You can bring your hands on the floor on the inside of your foot and jump 3 times. End up on the right side here. Reach ahead of you. Come up, high lunge. Hands in prayer, twist to your right. Open your arms to your right and glide your right hand down the left leg. Coming back up, reaching ahead. Hands on the floor, jump 3 times. And reach ahead of you. Come up, hands in prayer, twist, open the arms out, and glide your hand down the right leg. And coming out of this, reach ahead of you. Hands on the floor, jump 3 times. Reach ahead of you. Come up, high lunge. Lower the hands on the floor, jump 3 times. Reach ahead of you. Come up, hands on the hips, lunge, and hands on the floor, jump 3 times. Keep moving, keep breathing. Coming up, jumping 3 times, coming up. Lower down, jump 3 times, come up. We're gonna do 10 of those, so go at your pace. If you need to pause the video or stop the video and rest, you can do that. Count your own reps so you know that you have done 10 of those sets. So 1 lunge to 3 jumps counts as 1 set. We're gonna complete 10 of those. They will for sure get your blood pumping. And after this, you can lower the hands, ending up with your left knee leading. Lower your elbows on the floor or hands on the floor for a stretch. Right hand on the floor, side angle. Reach ahead of you. Look ahead of you and transition into half moon. Opening the hips. Hands on the floor, And bringing the right hand on the floor, left arm reaches up, revolving half moon. Try to look up. Exhale, both hands on the floor, standing half split. And hands on the floor, jump back into plank, chaturanga, upward facing dog, back to chaturanga, exhale, downward facing dog. And step your right foot out, lower down, stretching here. Right foot on the outside of your right hand. And let's transition into side angle. Right hand by the right foot, open the left arm up, lengthen, sink deeper, reach ahead of you, look down and shift into half moon pose, standing half moon Ardha Chandrasana. Open the hip, flex the foot, hands on the floor, shifting into revolving half moon, left hand on the floor, right arm reaching up, and standing half splits. Great, let's bring the hands on the floor and step or jump back into plank, chaturanga, upward facing dog, chaturanga. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale the right leg up, open the knee, open the hip, step the foot behind you, wild thing. And here you can lift the hips as high as you can and see if you can grab your ankle or foot and transition into side plank. Then bring your foot in front of you and grab your big toe, open. Guide your foot at the front, splits. Lifting through the heart. And you can stay in splits for a second here. Lower down, forward bend. And slowly coming out of this, you can glide your foot back in and come back into downward facing dog. Inhale the left leg up, open the hip, bend the knee, drop the foot behind you, wow thing, lifting the hips. Try to feel your hips in this move. Try to feel the chest as well. And here you can reach back and grab your ankle or your toes and transition into side plank. Now you can bring your foot in front of you, grab your big toe, open your foot up and guide your foot into splits. Lifting and reaching over the head. And here you can lower down. Now if you're still working on splits, of course you're gonna modify and hold any level of splits that you're working with. If you're a little higher in splits, coming out of this, back to downward facing dog. Inhale the right leg up, bend the knee and grab your ankle. Here I'm working on this, drop back into wild thing and slowly come back into side plank. And we're gonna touch the toes 10 times in side plank. This sequence is moving quickly and you can come back to it so that you kind of know the pace and the poses, because it was very refreshing, just like a coffee cup. And after the 10 reps, you can reach over your head, come into one-handed plank, lower down chaturanga, upward facing dog, chaturanga, downward facing dog. We're gonna go ahead with the left side. Inhale the left leg up, open the left hip, bend the knee, feel your hip. Now here, search for your foot behind you, grab your ankle and see if you can flip back. It's tricky. I will work on it more in our classes. And reach over the head. From here, transition into side plank and we're gonna touch the toes 10 times. Keeping the hips lifted and keeping the sides of your torso strong. These are quite a bit of a waistline shapers. Once you're done, you're gonna level your hips and reach ahead of you. The floor, and I'm demonstrating the next move, which is star plank jumps, jumping the feet in and out 10 times. If you feel very inspired today, pause the video and do it. Go for 30. Once we're done, we're gonna do 10 knee tucks. Pull the belly in plank. And the next is elbow plank, star, elbow plank jumps, 10 of those. And knee to triceps, 10 of those. And from here, bring your forearms parallel to each other and take dolphin pose, opening the chest back. You can stay in dolphin pose or you can clasp your hands and transition into a headstand. This was the more intense part of the sequence. And coming out of the headstand, you can open your feet out and go into a wide-legged forward bend. Just over the right thigh, just over the left thigh. Exhale back in center. Hands at the front of the mat. Jump your feet together and inhale, come up to standing. Inhale your hands all the way over the head. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, look ahead of you. And jump back into plank, chaturanga, upward facing dog. We're moving into the vinyasa part of this sequence. Exhale, downward facing dog. So far, this was the coffee cup interval yoga sequence, and this is going to be a little more vinyasa style. We'll move into some stretching poses. Cross your right foot in front of your left, walk your hands to the back of the room and do forward bend here. Then come back forward, cross the left foot over the right, walk your hands back, stretch here in a forward bend. And walk your hands back to the front of the room or the front of your mat. Take the right leg up, lift your leg, open the hip, wow thing, all the way into wheel. You can stay in wow thing, of course, always the previous level is optional. Coming back out of wheel into one-legged downward facing dog. And transition into side plank, left hand on the floor. Lift your right foot off the floor in the air, suspended. Now we're gonna go opposite knee to elbow. Right elbow, left knee 10 times. keeping your hips lifted, belly tight. Count to 10. And reach over your head. Back to plank. Cross the left foot over the right. Walk your hands back to your feet. Forward bend. Hands walking back to the front of the mat. And lift the right leg in the air. We're gonna take chaturanga with the leg lifted and back to downward facing dog. Inhale the left leg up, open the hip. Bend the knee, drop the foot behind you, wild thing. You can transition into wheel, point the toes forward, open the chest towards the back of the room, press your chest forward. Tuck your tailbone under. Find space in the lower back. Back to wild thing. Side plank. Star side plank. And 10 more of those opposite knee to elbow crunches. Left elbow, right knee. Reaching over the head. And exhale the hands on the floor. Right foot over the left. Walk your hands back. Stretch. Forward bend. Walk your hands to the front of your mat. And step into downward dog. Inhale the left leg up. Chaturanga. This time inhale upward facing dog. Exhale downward facing dog. Inhale the right leg up. Step the right foot between the hands and come up. High lunge. Open into warrior 2. Step your feet into warrior 2 alignment. Sink a little deeper. Revolving, reversing the warrior. Walk the left hand down the left leg. Straighten your legs. Reach ahead of you, triangle pose. Open that left hip. Spin it open. Lengthen the torso. Reach over your head. Lift the kneecaps. Lift the arches of the feet. Bring both hands on the floor. Square your hips. Intense side stretch. Hips are square. Great. Let's bring the left hand on the floor. Right arm up. Hips square. And from here, look down and bend your right knee, transition into revolving half moon, bringing the left hand somewhere in front of the right foot. Great. Step all the way back into high lunge. And let's bring the left elbow on the outside of the right knee, twist in prayer. Look over your shoulder, soften your belly. You can deepen the twist, one hand on the floor, one up. You can go into an arm balance, open your toes. The most important part of the pose, and back to twisting lunge. This time you can clasp behind and grab your shirt, your fingers. Clasp your hands. Now you can look down and step your back foot in and come up, standing on one leg, still holding your clasp. Straighten your leg and go back. Step back. Hands back to prayer. And you can hold high lunge as I'm convincing my camera guy to turn the camera around because there's huge horses, actually police, passing by, and it's two gorgeous women on these huge horses. It took a while to convince my camera guy, which is my brother, to catch them on camera, but I must say this was a gorgeous view, and I'm keeping it in the video as you hold lunge. They do not look as big on camera as they were in person. These horses were humongous. Anyways, back to class. Low lunge, hands on the floor. And you can bring your right knee into your right elbow and step back, moving through a vinyasa, chaturanga, up dog, back to down dog. Inhale the left leg up, step the left foot between your hands and come up, high lunge. Hands in prayer, and step your feet for warrior two here. You're gonna sink a little deeper, relax your shoulders and hands, and reverse the warrior here, keeping the knee bent. Straighten the lead knee, reach further back. From here, you're gonna transition into reaching way ahead of you, triangle pose. Lengthening through the sides of the torso, the back, the belly, the crown of the head. The feet are active, the knees caps are lifting. Reach ahead of you. Lower both hands on the floor, square your hips, intense side stretch. Lowering the chest over the thigh. And right hand on the floor, left arm reaching up, revolving triangle pose. Soften the belly, exhale. Lengthen through the crown of the head. Look down and bring your right hand somewhere in front of the left foot for revolving half moon pose. Bend the knee and step back into lunge. And prayer, twist lunge. Deepen the twist lunge if you're gonna go into the arm balance, otherwise you can stay in prayer. Hands on the floor, arm balance. Step it back, and here you can clasp underneath, bound twist lunge, and step the back foot in, come up to standing, still holding the clasp. Straighten your left leg and look behind you. Slowly lower down and step it back. And let's bring the hands on the floor and step back in plank. Chaturanga, upward facing dog. And here you can sit back in child's pose, knees wide. Coming back out of this, prepare for pigeon pose. Right leg forward, a mouth twist, lengthen the torso, and lower down in pigeon. And just breathe, coming back to your breath, coming back to your guided breath, coming back to a breath that is coming in and out of the hip area. Combining breath with visualization. That's a magic formula for healing and flexibility. Flexibility is just a limited term. We're just opening areas in the body, healing them, and releasing old patterns in the area. The flexibility is just the purely visible, rewarding physical aspect of it. There is a lot going on behind that when we use yoga as a tool. And coming out of pigeon, you're gonna just bring your back foot back and around and stack your ankles on top of your knees, knee on top of the ankle for double pigeon. Flex your feet, very important. Flex both feet and find the place you want to be at. This is my first class after a 20-hour flight, so I was feeling this everywhere in my body. It's just this is the times when I know how insanely amazing yoga is. It was just no area in my body that didn't need all of this. My spine, everything was locked up, closed down, stiff. So basically, it's just a beautiful way to bring breath, awareness, blood into every part of your body, especially the parts where there is limited circulation and we don't use them during the day, and there is just stagnation and compression. And slowly coming out of this, hands in prayer, you can bring your left elbow into your left foot and twist. Look over your shoulder. Coming back out of this, step your left foot on the outside of the right thigh and you can go into a seated twist. Great. Half lotus. Here you can skip this sequence or you can try it out. Half lotus, bend the right knee and step on your right foot, and you can reach back and around with your left hand and grab your left big toe, straightening the right leg here and releasing. Alright, pigeon on the left side. Flex your foot, you can twist, lengthen the spine and just breathe. You probably know that pigeon is one of my most favorite poses, and the whole practice makes sense just so that we can come back to pigeon at the end. This whole sequence can pretty much lead to pigeon on most days, and it will be great. All the rest is just an added bonus. So here you're coming back to your breath. You're coming back to a quiet space where everything is melting into nothingness, and you're just here as if there is a glow around you and everything is kind of blurry, but the center is very, very sharp and crisp, and you're in the center. Everything around is glowing and colorful, but it's not that important and it's not that detailed. It's just there, and you're in the crisp, sharp, clear center, breathing, allowing everything to come into the center. Breathe. I'm letting everything just be there, but the breath is the central focus. And everything will be fine. Everything that you tend to worry about will be fine. The present moment, in its profound beauty and perfection, is this quiet place you can always come back to reassure, reaffirm, remind yourself that everything will be okay. If you are in the present moment, you will realize how blessed you are. You're on a yoga mat, breathing, honoring your body, honoring this day with a practice that allows you to deepen your breath. That alone is such a blessing and such a thing to be appreciative, grateful, blessed about. And slowly coming out. You can bring your right foot back and around, stacking the ankle on top of the knee. Make sure your shin bones are exactly in the same plane above each other. Flex your feet, double pigeon. Breathe into your hips. You should feel both hips here. And keep your breath easy. Deep, but easy. Slowing the breath down. Try to slow down the rate of inhalation and exhalation. Contracting Mula Bandha. And let's bring the hands in prayer. And twist right elbow into the right foot. Great. Okay. I felt like hanging around for another second here, so I'm adding this on. And let's come out of this, lower the foot on the outside of your thigh, and you can twist here into a seated twist. Left elbow on the outside of the right knee. To come out of this, you can stack the foot in half lotus and bend the left foot, step on the left foot, bend the left knee first, and you can grab your right foot with the right hand, straighten and release. Here, this is optional. Not everybody can do lotus, and not everybody will be able in this lifetime, no matter how much they practice, to do lotus. So feel free to do easy pose and lower down. If you can do lotus, great. If you cannot do lotus, also great. You can touch the tip of the index finger to the tip of the thumb and stay here for 1 second. Great. Now you can lower down, lay down onto your back, supine twist quickly. And we're gonna prepare for plow pose. Lift your feet up and over the head. And I have to say, after long periods of sitting, such as airplanes or just at work, driving, this is probably the best pose out there. Clasping the hands, also great for scoliosis, preventing the progression of scoliosis. From here, you can bend your knees and bring your knees over your ears. A very introverted pose. You come into yourself. Slowly lower back down. Lower your legs down on the floor. And prepare for Shavasana. And just stay here soaking in bliss. Namaste.